In fact, every leadership position of a church, they need to think more about building leaders and less about doing the thing themselves. That's really the difference between a leader and a technician, is that the technician is obsessed with perfectionism, a little bit of ego. They don't think anyone else can do it better than them. They're not great at empowering people. They are a bottleneck to projects getting done. They edit. You're overwhelmed because you see yourself as the only way of accomplishing a project, but you got to adopt a leadership mentality to realize it's about empowering others, equipping others. Leadership at the highest levels of the church casts bigger vision that raises more money so that more people, because provision follows vision. So I think the vision of a church should be to have full-time media ministers on staff eventually, because we do have at our fingertips tools that are incredibly powerful to put out video podcasts, YouTube videos, more creative content, content that is reaching our church, but is also reaching the world and reaching people outside of the church. Music, whatever. And if there's different mantles on different churches, but I definitely think that for me, I've struggled with that again, I want to do everything. And if a new social media platform, when I was coming up, came along, I was like, oh shoot, how am I I'm already working so hard. No, you got to cast vision. You got to raise leaders. You got to equip people. You got to train people. You got to get people subscribing to this podcast and this video podcast. Yep. You got to teach people to be learners themselves. And the truth is that real leaders create leaders, not more followers. And so your goal is not to have people being like, wow, look at how good you are at social media and YouTube and content. The pinnacle of real leadership is that less people would even know you, and you are accomplishing the work through the hands of others that have bought into the vision, that are experiencing the significance and satisfaction that comes to their soul from building God's house and building the kingdom. And there's different levels where you have to be the results level leader first, where you are doing the stuff, but immediately, like here's a crazy thought. I know I've been on this rant, but I just finished Joshua and went into Judges. And one of the crazy things about Joshua, I'm reading the John Maxwell Leadership Bible, NIV, can't recommend it enough. He said, there's a little blurb, right, from John Maxwell, and it said, Joshua was basically a perfect leader. I mean, nobody's perfect, but like he fulfilled, it says he did what God told him to do. I mean, that's the ultimate goal of leadership, or any of our own callings, is like, what did God call me to do? He accomplished what God called him to do. And he goes, but he had a major leadership flaw. He didn't install another Joshua.
Wow.
And what followed Joshua? Judges. And at the end of Deuteronomy, you see Moses laid his hands on Joshua. And it actually says the spirit that was on Moses came on Joshua. Joshua had been sitting outside of the tent, had been being equipped, walking with Moses. Listen, they weren't the same leader. They were very different. Moses was diplomatic. Joshua was a warrior. Moses had a certain type of leadership. Joshua had a different conquesting type of leadership. But nevertheless, Moses was an effective leader, made more mistakes, arguably, than Joshua. But Joshua's biggest leadership mistake was not succession. So even for you as a young leader, this might sound crazy because you're not even close to, you've barely taken off the plane from the runway. But a lot of leaders, senior pastors, someday start thinking, man, who's my Joshua? And I honestly think they probably asked that question way too late. They start asking that when they start going, man, my back kind of hurts. I'm 45, I'm 55, shoot, I'm 60. Who's my Joshua? Bro, you should be asking today, who's my Joshua? As soon as you start your job, your role at the church, day one. And that's hard because we actually want to be the best sound guy, the best cameraman. We want to be doing the stuff. And the reality is you'll be doing this stuff together potentially for decades. Like it would be great if you could meet your Joshua today and they get to sit outside of the tent while you meet with God for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years. You know, if God willing, someone sticks that long in your ministry, helping with media or whatever. And eventually, but like, I think one of the biggest ways, all the way back to how many platforms should we be on, it's getting a spirit-filled, passionate, disciplined, young person, hard to find, not a lot
very.
like you. And I mean, not trying to flatter, but I mean, like you're an incredible young leader. Obviously, you've got a powerful family, and executing a kingdom mission on TikTok. Should you be on TikTok? Yeah. Should you be on Clubhouse? Yeah, doing Bible studies. There should be revival on Clubhouse.
Yes.
Of leaders that are like, but TikTok and Clubhouse is probably a distraction if you can't even get your YouTube channel's message consistently uploaded every
Wow.
week in a quality way. You've spread yourself way too thin if you can't do a few basic things. And so there's the practical today, but then build leaders for tomorrow, because we need a social media takeover, man. We should be on every platform because there are people on every platform, and Jesus loves people.
That is so good. And I'm going to start looking for my Joshua now. That's so good. I need a t-shirt that says, "Who's your Joshua?"